All right, sorry, I'm just getting ready. I'm probably not going to stay on very long, depending on how my phone calls come back to me. I've got things to do today, um, but we'll see how it goes. Just looking at stocks here, a lot of green. Mountain is up 32 cents, 32.5. Uh, It's got a tight bid ask, 12.13 to 12.25, 26,000 shares. So that's a lot of demand for that stock. G Bucks is 70 cents to 72 cents. It's up a penny. No, it's not. It's up less than a penny, much less than a penny. And the volume there is 28,000 shares. Very little demand there. Uh, Energy Vault is down 4.5 cents at 152. There is volume there, 595,000 shares. And if you're lucky enough to be in there, you can get out, but you've lost money in all likelihood. Finger is flat, 143 to 144, 53,000 shares. And then it comes to Railtown. Railtown is bidding 54.8, so it's essentially bidding 55 cents, but it's only 2,000 shares at that price. The ask is 56 cents, 109,100. Again, I tell you, nobody is selling stock. It's all non-existent shares. Nobody is selling. Well, I guess technically they're selling, but it's not real shares. It's borrowed, or they're lying, or you know the game. You know the game. Now my gout's gone to my elbow, so it hurts to put my elbow down on the table. Shitty getting old. The volume on Railtown is 353,000 shares. There's been some sizable trades, not recently, but earlier. The stock got as high as almost 58 cents. My view on it, this is just following what's happening in Canada. In Canada, there was some volume earlier, sorry, not yesterday. Let me just see if I can confirm using Yahoo, because I can't do it on darn it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it's up 5 cents in Canada, but it did go as high as 81 cents. No, sorry, 80 cents, 80 cents, 122,885. I thought I saw 81 cents. Maybe that was the offer when I looked. I don't know. But anyway, it shows a high of 80 cents today, which is still great. It's up 7%. There's no news. So if I had to guess, and I only put this out as a possibility, I've heard nothing. I know nothing. Maybe somebody's hearing something, that finally this transaction is coming to its conclusion. And if I had to guess, it'll be Monday, right? Or Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. But maybe something's going on and the word gets out. Or the other possibility is there's some shorts who don't want to be short over the weekend, and they've been buying the stock. Or it could be a combination of that. We'll find out. Next week is August. It's the third week of August. So if they're going to get it done in August, it would be either next week or obviously the following week. I may end up being correct that it's the first or second week of September, but we'll just have to play it out. It's just getting very close to the end, I think. I think the stock price is telling you that. This is our number of shares. We have 11,340,000 shares. So we're almost to 11.5 million. We have 8.1% of the outstanding according to Yahoo's numbers from a week ago. I don't think it's changed. And then we have 193 people, probably more than that, but that's distinct individuals. So that's pretty good. I do want to show you a couple of things very quickly. I don't want to get buried in this, but I just think you guys got to stop listening to these other ill-conceived I'll probably say too many files. It always does. All right, here's, this is G-Bucks, and it's very hard. My eyesight, I don't know what's happening. I've got to get glasses, I guess. This is June 30 numbers. They have net losses of 6.6 million during the 6 months. Ended June 30. A big accumulated deficit, and then the quarter wasn't much better. Like I say, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but for those you guys who believe there's some story here, and somehow you're lucky enough to be hearing something. On February 2025, the company entered into a convertible promissory note, 10% per annum, with a conversion at 45% of the average price, 45% of the average price during the previous 20 consecutive days. That, my friends, is toxic financing. The stock is going to be destroyed. And the fact that it ran up is, I don't know. It's a prelude to a thrill, a word that rhymes with thrill. It begins with the letter K. And then they entered into another one on April, and another one in May, and another one in May. It's just incredible that you keep listening to these stories and people bring them to you without pointing out that it's toxic convertible crap. If you want to keep imagining that you're going to win, keep listening to them. On November 23, they were in a yacht business and they got 100 grand. December of 24, they did some sort of event planning deal. And then in June of 25, they announced to great fanfare they're buying a gold company. I guess that's how it was presented to you. I came on and said I didn't see that that's what it said at all. And as of June 30, the agreement has not closed. For documentation is the excuse they give here. Their revenues were all of 55,000 versus 25,000 in the last quarter. You think this stock is it's where you should put your money? And then down here, you can't read the last sentence. The increased loss is mainly due to a change in the value of derivative liabilities. That's those bloody notes. And then you see this is from a while ago. but GiveBucks has an outstanding, actually it's not, it's recent. I just don't see the date on it, but you can look it up. Oh, there it is up there, July of 2025, if my eyesight's working. They have a prospectus out there, and it relates to an offering and resale by Kips Bay Select LLP. Do you think those guys are honest? Look, they're all here to slaughter you, and you're the key gullible party to be slaughtered. You got to stop listening to the guys coming breathlessly on and saying this shit's going up. And then they say, we are a smaller reporting company as defined under federal security laws and have elected to comply with the certain reduced public company reporting requirements. That's one you want to put your retirement money in. I get so mad. I guess I'm mad at myself too. How do you believe this kind of crap? Okay, here's your GiveBucks stock as of the end of last year. This is what you're buying into. This is a fintech app. It's state of the art. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. It's an alternative to everything. You know how many users they have? I suppose you can read it. They have 11,000 users. There's probably buildings in the Bronx where there's more users of illicit substances than that number of users. So you're buying into the growth story of 11,000 users. Merchants, I was wrong. I think I said 20. The number of merchants that accept this app are 258. You can probably go to one shopping mall in a big city and find 258 stores. Charities, 140. I don't know. It sounds like a lot. It's probably the guys bringing the stock to you, getting shares or something. And then they have associates. And I guess associates get commission. Well, they got 1,200 of those. You better run to get into that opportunity. And then this is Energy. I think this is Energy Vault, or is this? No, this is still GiveBucks. This is still GiveBucks. Here's the purchase agreement. And it's tranches. I don't want to go over it. It's just such a waste of energy. And then this is Energy Vault. They have a prospectus out. It's older, but they're going to raise $25 million at some point, which you might have known if you paid attention. I think I pointed it out before. But look at this group over here, Harbor Global Ventures. You trust them? Guys, please just don't get lost in these stocks. All right, so Railtown is 54.4 to 56. It's 117, and let's see how it is in Canada. Delayed. I only get delayed quotes. It's 76 as of 105. Obviously no news. Vine's 122,000. It's not particularly large or anything, but I think that there's one other thing I might be able to show you. And I'll probably lose a bunch of you because I did this. It's what always happens, but you'll just have to put your comments back up. I shouldn't have done this until I read all your comments. This is just a short-term chart on Railtown, and I didn't. Somebody sent me this, so I didn't draw any lines on it. Railtown just traded at 76 cents in Canada, but like I told you yesterday, you can draw a horizontal line right about here for the bottom for support, but you can then draw a a diagonal line going up like this, and the stock has broken out. So that's resistance. It'll pull up, it might pull back, trying to come back to that resistance. But where I see this stock going is, 62, 63 rather quickly. But I don't really think there's a lot of resistance there. Nobody's selling the stock. So I think you're going to see it go quickly to new highs, in my judgment. And probably it won't even stop at $1. All right, let me see. Okay, I don't think I lost anything. Mark is in. All right, I got to go back here. Take that down. Mark is numero uno today. How are you doing? Good day. Phil Haynes. There's some guy named Phil Haynes on, was it on Jack Benny's show? All right, I'm going to make a new list, Phil Haynes. Added 500. Good for you, Phil. And it's a little more expensive, but I wouldn't hesitate even with the higher price. It's still cheap compared to the high of 69.7 this year. And I think you're going to find out as time goes by that it's cheap. Dustin White. Yeah. All right, you guys. Phil, that's good. I wrote it down. That's a good number, by the way. 1,500. If it does what I anticipate, I won't blame anyone else except myself. You're going to be glad you own that. So good job. Trying to drink water so my blood dilutes uric acid crystals that are in my joints. This has been 6 or 7 weeks. I don't know. I'm going to try to go to a conference next week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. But for those of you who invested in the gold company, it looks like the company's going to take funding from somewhere else. I don't know the details, but on that trip, I will try to meet with one of the principal parties. I should say it differently. He's not really. Well, I don't know about that either. I don't know. He does have a claim, a pretty significant claim, maybe, in a positive way. In other words, the fact is, I don't know how much he owns of the company and whether he gets some trail or something. I don't know all that. But he's not part of the management. He's not part of the responsibility to shareholders. Yet he is pretty active in the process and the design and all that. So if I get to Denver next week, I'll meet with him. And I will try to schedule a meeting, maybe a Zoom call with everybody, because it doesn't look like my guy's going to be able to fund that. Well, we don't know yet. I don't want to presuppose. But I've been informed they're moving ahead with an alternative. Who knows if it'll actually come through, anything's. That involves some risk to us in the gold company I'm talking about, in terms of what is the deal? Will they cram us down? Will all the shareholders vote for it? It's a very exciting project. It's a gigantic project. So I think, it might be the difference of making 10x versus 100x. We'll still make money if it all works out. But it looks like it's just time for turn the page on that one in terms of funding it. Although we're not 100% sure on that. I will have an update maybe at the end of next week or the following week. I'll try to have an update for everybody in August. I'll do it by Zoom. I don't want the shills on, and I guess I'll go by. I should have a pretty current record of who all is invested in it, and hopefully there's good news. But it doesn't look like it's going to be moving forward with my input, which is a shame. It disappoints me. I worked pretty hard on it, but that's just life. There's another project which looks like it's going to disappear Monday, maybe Tuesday. But if there's anybody out there that trusts me enough, we'll do legal documents. I'm not talking trusting that way. But there's a project that I want to lock down, and I know it's last minute. I just have found out that there's a great I don't know. This is maybe a backup. I intended to bring it to you anyway at some point, but I need 50 grand to hold the project in a right of first refusal way, and $500,000 to just claim it. Apparently, that's slightly different than what he told me a week ago. But the gentleman, I've known him for years, 20 years, I think, and he's going to be presenting at this conference. And it's 100 million barrels of oil, 100 million barrels of oil known. No, the only risk is execution. There's no exploratory risk. It's tertiary recovery of existing oil in legacy oil fields in Texas. And I'm working with somebody else on it, but if it interests anybody, there's any interest, the rate of return on the money is probably 10 to 1 over at the $60 oil level. But the real thing is it's income for 10 years, 15 years. And I also think oil's going a lot higher. But anyway, email me. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to take the project off the market, but in case the answer is no, I just want to have a backup, which, we'd have to work out all of the, I can't cut anybody out of the project, so I don't know the exact structure, but I just got to get it off the market before somebody else takes it. 100 million barrels is huge. It's depending on how they chop it up with me, it's probably $1 billion worth of value. Anyway, let's not focus on that. Hopefully everything works out. But those are two kind of updates. One, you're already in. The other, I just want to take it off the market. And it would be, I've been told, we haven't drawn up the documents, it would be refundable if he went with somebody else. Anyway, so Railtown's now 54.4 to 56. 2,000 by 118. Hey, D-Mac, good to see you. Hey, Marco Flood, how are you? My eyesight. I hope there's 18 months for a puppy dog. He's almost a full-grown dog. I have no interest in looking. I'll write it down, but I have no interest in looking at any other stock than Railtown. No other stock than Railtown. I don't know why you'd invest in whatever this is. It's going to go from $8 to $10, or maybe that's not what you're saying. They're raising the target from 8 to 10, and the stock is I typed a W. It's a biotech company, which they destroy. So it's a $5 company, and you'll be able to double your money maybe by when? By the end of the year? Within a year? With Railtown, you can make 10x on your money in my judgment, and I'm standing by my judgment in the next 6 weeks. I don't know why you'd be distracted. Anyway, it says hard to borrow. Of course, it's straight up. Anything anybody brings to me is already in the flush of its excitement. Nobody wants to buy something unless it's already moving, unless it's already up, unless it's already got giant risk in being sucked back down. Nobody wants to do it because it's not exciting. My friends, this is not investing. Going from name to name, and because some, H.C. Wainwright has a research comment on it. I don't know if you want to be separated from your money, I don't want to help you do it. I just don't want. This is a stock, this piece of shit stock that you're bringing to me has been destroyed for 5 years. It's been shorted into oblivion. I don't think I could even tell you how high, because I can't read it. But if I'm right, it was $1,600,000 a share 5 years ago. That's how much that stock's been destroyed. And the reverse splits. And you bring it here? It's already up. It blasted off from under $1, and it went as high as 7, and now it's pulled back because when you break through the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day, that's breaking through resistance, then it pulls back. So it's on its pullback. I guess the idea would be that it's going to rally now, and H.C. Wainwright has a target of $10. The bloody thing is trading for 5-something right now. It's going to be very hard to get that stock through 1250. So let's say it goes to 1250. You get 2.5 times your money because some bloody guy on a stupid call says, hey, take a look at what's it called? BioXcel Therapeutics. H.C. Wainwright has a target on it. Rush, rush, rush. Guys, if you want to trade like this, go somewhere else. This looks like a stock that, yes, it could find support. It could find support at 363. That's the 200-day moving average. Of course, that's you'd lose a third of your money. But it also could break that support and easily go back to 233. So you lose half your money in return for doubling your money. That's a hell of a risk reward. You don't know anything about the company. You don't know jack shit about who is managing it, what's the headwinds against it or the win against its back. You have no edge. You just, some guy comes on and says, hey, look at BioXL Therapeutics. Makes you wonder, Mark, as good a person as you are, if you work for the shorts. This stock has done nothing but be destroyed for 5 years. And now it's a good investment? I don't even want to do any more research on it. I'm sure there's toxic financing in there. H.C. Wainwright, they've been around. I wouldn't say they're the best research group out there, but maybe. But where's the investment banking behind it? And I don't want to waste any more time on it. Biotech XL Therapeutics, with its subsidiary Oncos XL Therapeutics, operates as a pharmaceutical company that utilizes AI. See, you got your biopharmaceutical, you got your AI. Next thing, they'll put in Bitcoin, they'll throw in some gold, they'll have Kim Kardashian's rear end in there, unless it's now this chick Sweeney's, whoever's getting the buzz now. And hey, you got a stock. Develop medicine and neurosciences. Guys, rush. Sell all of your Railtown and go to Mark's idea. Please don't. I'm being sarcastic. Yes, we know it's a $5 stock. Yeah, it is the rust years. I like that comment. Pizza rules, someone always knows. Guys, I'm going to tell you, Mark works for the shorts. He's here to get you distracted from the only shares the shorts can get to cover their ass is your shares. And they don't want you to add to this position. They want you to be distracted by this crap company that's in AI neuropharmaceutical. Guys, why is this company going to be better than every other one out there? Everybody's in bloody AI. They just say stamp AI. This company actually has the tool to create AI software for all these companies. When you buy this, you're not buying into one shitty company in a highly competitive, abused space. Look at Northwest Bio. Look at all the bios. They all get abused. Mark works for the shorts. He's a nice guy, but he works for the shorts. This is the stock they want. They want your stock. Please don't give it to them. Please don't give it to them. Whatever this bio, whatever it is, stay away. Stay away from it. And it's got AI. So predictable. We're in healthcare and we have AI. There are companies in the AI partnership in the medical field, and there will come a time when AI lets supercomputers say, download my DNA pattern and my genes and my kidneys, and maybe they can then run through it certain drugs to see if it'll help my gout, or maybe they can run through certain analysis to see if it can improve my personality. I don't know, but everybody's doing it. This shit company puts it out as if it's their idea. They're just going to be destroyed, guys. Mark wants you to lose your money. I hate to say that. He's a nice guy. CJ Yukon. $5,000, good for you. 45,000 total. That's great. Take advantage today. Stop listening to people just giving you stock as if they know something. They don't know anything. And then you could say, well, what do I know? You're just a big loser. Every stock you recommend, the same thing that she'll say. Well, maybe you can say that. I don't think so. But, I'll be judged on the same standards. You shouldn't be in any of these stocks. There's no price discovery. There's no enforcement of security laws, at least against the criminals. There's no investment banking. There's some shitty research that no one reads in this new stock. Guys. And then it doesn't matter how good the news is. They're going to bring it down to 1 billion shares. And you're still going to be sitting there, well, the story's good. And Mark will be on to his next story, telling you about it. I don't appreciate it, Mark. I really don't appreciate it. Railtown's the only stock you should be focused on right now for your high-risk, speculative, your junk stocks, which I would count this biotech, it's in AI. Just get away from all these destroyed stocks. They take them down, they reverse them, and it's up, down, up, down. They strip all that money out, and then they give it one last gasp. You go in, they take it back down, and it goes out. It goes seller box, it goes bankrupt, it gets into lawsuit. They can take their money out. There's no closing transaction. They don't have to pay taxes, and you're left saying, hey, it's a biopharmaceutical company, and it's in AI for neurological diseases. Everybody has a brain. The market's huge. Good Lord. I can't fight it by myself. You have to have some critical thinking. Anyway, I'm just going to move on from it. It really pisses me off, as you can tell. The bid on Railtown is $54.53. Railtown will be a $5 stock without H.C. Wainwright's report, without saying it's a biopharmaceutical and it hasn't been crushed, and without Mark coming on and saying it only has 11 million shares. Of course it does, because they did reverse splits. Have they gotten rid of the toxic financiers? No, you don't know about it. You heard there's a report from H.C. Wainwright, which when I was in the business was one of the lowest of the firms out there. I'm not saying they were dishonest or anything, but to have a report from H.C. Wainwright wasn't going to move the needle. I don't think it does now. All right, let me just move on, get through these. I'm probably going to sign off early because I'm going to try to take that deal off the market. It's the kind of transaction that if we all work together, we could build a company and we could be very happy and we wouldn't have to deal with all this other noise. But I think it'll be gone if I don't get it. And I think it's pretty low odds that I get it signed up. It'll be gone next week, and then it's another woulda, coulda, shoulda. endless woulda, coulda. I hate having the vision for things and not the not my own money. I would just write the check. Hey, Steve, I'm here. Good to see you, Steve. Michael, hey, hey. All right, Michael. Another good show of strength. Another show of strength. Excellent. 1,000. That's very good. That's going to be a good number. I mean, you might have to wait 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. But imagine if the company gets sold and there's a bidding war. You just need 2 companies bidding. I mean, you could have 100 grand there. It's not bad. I mean, it's not a promise. That's a prediction. We don't know enough information now, but a pretty good indication. We have a lot of indications. Glad I got out of G-Bucks yesterday. Yeah, I don't see much hope for G-Bucks, but people say I have my head up my ass. But I said that about G-Bucks when it was higher too. I'm not just joining in now. But G-Bucks is another story, comes out of Goldman Sachs. There's a big whale. There's a guy going to put in $250 million almost. It's going to go into a property portfolio, and they're moving the app to the Middle East. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East. These guys have apps and technology. If it's failing here, there's no reason it's going to work there. But anyway, maybe it will. Who knows? But you're in the real risk phase of that growth trajectory. And they did toxic financing, and they're going to raise money. And I'd be surprised if that stock. Well, I'm not going to make any negative predictions, but that's not a stock to be in. It had its run. You had a chance to get a 10x on it. In fairness to the guy that brought it to you, he brought it to you at this price. It ran to 8 and higher, and you had a chance to get out 10x. But that's hard to do. I mean, it's just hard to do. Buying is just one part of the decision. The other part is not futzing with it. Buy it and hold it if it's something good. And the other decision, hey, I got to sell. And if you're being told it's a short squeeze and that the system is going to cover shares and this thing's going to go to, I don't know what the number was, 150, you don't want to sell it at 8 because you figure it's going to go to 150. And then you're the sucker. It says sucker right across your forehead. You know why? Because the guys that got stock, they sell, unless they are also suckers. And then the company and the I don't want to call them bankers, these LLCs. They're not really bankers. They're just bird dogs. They take documents created by somebody else's attorneys and they stick them in front of the CEO. And then once they get it signed, some hedge fund has already sold the stock down. They cross that stock. They all do it. They're not bankers. They're just a bunch of thieves. Anyway, they get the stock up. They do a cross. They start shorting down, and you're left as the sucker. And somehow you're going to pick the one that doesn't turn out the same way. And Mark's going to come on and just a cursory look at a stock. It's gone from over 1 million. It looks like it's hard to read, so my eyesight might be wrong. It looks like it's gone from $1,600,000 a share down to $1, and now it's $5, and Mark wants you to buy it. That is just sheer idiocy. All right, it's 149. I might not go much more after 2. Phil Kurt. All right, Phil, a new person. Welcome aboard, Phil Kursky. That's great, Phil. It's a good amount of shares too. You never know. You never know. If my, my buyout target price 275. It's a wild ass guess, and it's not going to happen right away. A lot of things would have to go right, and the whole AI 2.0 has to play out, and all that. That's the number I picked right now. That if they get into a bidding war, let's say NVIDIA and Microsoft, let's say 9 months from now or 18 months from now, there's a lot of risk factors. The overall market, the share prices of NVIDIA and Microsoft, there's things. So there's no way we can count on it. But if I had to pick a number, the buyout number, I think it'd be $275. It'd be stock. That's just for fun. That's like betting on a football match or something. It's a goofball projection. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on that projection yet, anyway. Hey, Red Pepper Ronnie. Hey, Donna. How are you? Fast Eddie. How are you? Good afternoon. JJ Jackson. Arm wrestling. How are you? Bill Miko. As I said 2 weeks ago, G-Bucks does not have an overabundance of shares. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's why they're delaying the share count. The stock will be at 5 cents after the announcement. Well, I don't know where, but yeah. My experience, if you remember, I've been pushing for, I'd say 3 years. I've just given up. But if people talk to me, I push for people to move their MMTLP to NextBridge. But even with that, even with the clear need to turn a worthless piece of nothingness, you can put it into a real stock. Yes, admittedly, the company's under attack by the shorts. There's a lot of criminal activity. Remember, the regulatories, the attorneys, the journalists, the lobbyists, Congress, they're all on the side of the criminals. Why? Money. And they don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. Yeah, I'm not very optimistic for G-Bucks. I haven't looked at the chart, Bill, but there's got to be a level below which it breaks. And then, well, let's look at the chart. Oof. I did look at it yesterday, didn't I? Ugh. 50 cents. 50 cents. And if it stops there, you lose a third of your money. Not sure it stops there. Ah, I don't know why anyone would be in it. Mark has some more posts. I'm not going to highlight them. He obviously works with the shorts. He wants you distracted from Railtown. If you think the chart looks good and you want to go over and trade based on his recommendation, and it's got a low float, it's got all these buzzwords, have at it. But just don't come back here. Might as well get out of Railtown and just go lose your money in this stupid biotech company. Just disappoints me. That's the problem here. I sometimes think people are friends of the audience and they turn out they work for the shorts. Everybody works for the effing shorts. Railtown 55.9, 54.63 to 55.84. I'm skipping Mark's comments. I just don't want to talk about that anymore. Okay, here we go. Father Mugger. Yep. Another scam for sale. Go for it. What's HYMC again? I don't know what HYMC stands for. It probably stands for something mean. Lots of green in Railtown, just as green as the corn in Iowa. You guys work hard out there in Northeast Iowa. You know, I've been to Indiana. I couldn't tell you if it's next door to Iowa or not. I assume it is. But I went out on a oil rig, I guess. I mean, it's not that huge. Well, it's a pretty big operation. 2 different wells we drilled, and neither one worked out. But Effingham County, I think it was. 2 different times, stayed at some motel and, had to buy galoshes to go out in the mud and all that. But all I remember about it, just miles and miles and miles and miles of corn. There was so much corn, you couldn't believe it. Of course, the acreage is really valuable. It's too bad the oil wells didn't work. We were drilling for reef. The reefs targets. It's if you hit them, they're prolific. But each new reef is almost well, it is. It's an exploratory well. It's hard to reduce the risk. But it was fun to be in a cornfield. Oh, God, Father, when no one knows anyone here besides just talking in the chat, no validation, no faces, except for 1 or 2, no trust beyond the simple chats, and people want to contribute to another fraud oil well. It's not an oil well. It would be overall, over time, a lot of it's bankable, but over a period of 3 years, it'd probably be $100 million spent. And I'd have to raise the rest of it. And I think I know where it would come from. It's just I got to hold the thing down. But it would probably be a total of, it's a good question. It'd probably be a total of, I didn't print it out, but it'd be at least 300 wells. I think it's more like 1,000 wells once you get through, and it's all proven up. Yes, you have to execute it. But these are the fields that built Dallas and built Houston, won World War I. There's a lot of oil there. So no, you don't know what you're talking about, Father Mugger. Hey, Gary Madrill. I'm going to skip everything Mark has to say. Not going to even read them. Father Mugger, look at this whack-a-mole loses morals, shouting and going fucking nuts. Love watching it. All right, Mark, I'm not gonna read anything. Father Mugger, love it, just love it. Thanks, Mark. Peace and happiness. You made our day as you brought out the real William, A.K. Biden doppelganger, which is the word I used. You didn't know what that word was. This nut is kidding. He wants to start a tape. It's not shut in. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. This scammer wants your money. No, I don't. Don't want your money. It would go into a company. I don't want your money. It's just, I don't know how else to say it. How did the production movie go? I didn't ask for money for that. I actually lost probably, my guess, I hate looking, but I think I lost 120 to 130,000 because of that stupid movie. Now I've only blamed myself, but it really is, it's a non sequitur. And Father Mugger, frankly, for most people, what I'm talking about, it's just beyond their means and their interest level. But there might be one or two people out there that kind of get the situation. The hardest thing in these bigger plays, oil, in this case, oil, there's some gas, but the gas would be used partly to run everything. They wouldn't sell any gas. Is you can do all the due diligence in the world, and you have time, and then all of a sudden, there's competition for the deal, and you have to act. And if you don't have it under control, you might as well, it's not even worth spending time on it. Getting it under control is valuable. And, if there's somebody out there that understands it, it's a great position to be in. The first person but it'd all be legal documents. And so, Father Mugger, you don't know me. I would say you're closer to a scammer than I am. You don't even use your own name. He said it, sucker. All right, I just got to move on from. I want to thank you for coming, Father Mugger. You obviously were here yesterday. Good morning, John. How are you? Hey, Strength in Numbers. It's been a while. Thanks for joining Strength in Numbers. Added. All right, good for you. I don't know how much you have, but if you reported it before, I'll have it in my list. But that's great that you bought some today. That's awesome, Strength in Numbers. Bill Michael, these pumpers that are coming to your channel are all ham short sycophants. Could be. It could be. Steve, ZJYL has never even hit the high I sold it at 68. Bravo. and you bought Railtown in the mid-30s. Good for you. Look, I'll just make a blanket statement. I think Mark's a great guy. He's got a great daughter and a great dog, and he's a good father and family man. But I tell you what, you come on here, anybody that comes on here and tries to distract people from Railtown, it hasn't been pleasant. I really have no tolerance for it. Now, once Railtown trades up at some point in the future, maybe people can dabble. But you don't, Mark, as nice as you are, you don't know what the hell you're talking about as it comes to the biopharmaceutical space or AI in the biopharmaceutical space. So I say that respectfully. I don't claim to know anything other than biopharmaceuticals are where these people work. This is where the shills steal. They're not the shills, the shorts steal. I just don't want, Mark, I don't care if it's 5 people that come with me. I'd love it to be all 200 people. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to fight the shills anymore. They win. They get guys like you thinking you can find a stock and you're going to make money. I don't want to do it anymore. They win. They own Congress. They own the attorneys. The attorneys work for the SEC and they work for the Kramers and for the Hurries. They own the lobbyists. They own the professors. They own journalism. They own Goldman Sachs. They own SAC. They own Citadel. They own all the stock loan desks. They own it all. And you're going to fight them? It's not investing. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm here right now because Railtown is still at 50 cents, well, 60 cents, because since February 11th, the company has been in a quiet period, so that has precluded all of the investors and the knowledgeable people, let's call it inside, close to and inside Railtown, they can't buy any stock. All of the people close to and inside AI partners, and that means OMERs, that means mutual funds, that probably means some investors that invested in Constellation Software, they can't buy. That means Canaccord Genuity cannot tell their institutional clients, their retail clients, anybody about the combined company, and they're the banker. So it means all the other top 4 banks in Canada don't know. They don't know what's going on with the acquisition of AI Partners by Railtown. It's in a 6-month quiet period. And Mark, you come in here and H.C. Wainwright has a report and you think the chart looks good. You might be right. But I've tried to point out, and I'll point it out one more time. It's a concept that absolutely nobody gets because H.C. Wainwright puts out a buy recommendation with a target. You can double your money. And maybe you will. Maybe you will. If you want mediocre performance, continue to do it that way. Mark, this is the value creation in a high growth stock. You go through your R&D phase, your angel and venture capital rounds. It's public already, but basically your pre-money rounds all come while you're in your development phase. You come out, as Railtown did a year ago, and you start marketing your first to market, your best in class AI product that solves a problem. The name of it is Conductor. You start marketing Conductor and your stock goes from 20 cents to 70 cents. Let's call it 60 cents. By the way, a year ago, it went to 62 cents a year ago when this research came out, when Railtown was all by itself and when Railtown was marketing their product all by themselves. Well, what happened here? Railtown joined AI Partnerships Court Network. They were the 164th company to do so, give or take. The founders of AI Partnerships, John Ruffalo, who founded Omer's Ventures and his own investment banking firm, but who was the prime mover while he was at Omer's of putting 25 million in seed money into a company called Constellation Software. It was actually called, if I recall, it was called The Software Company, and they made him change the name. They founded, and this guy, Mike Nobrega, and Dr. Tom Core and other people, they founded AI Partners with the specific goal of imitating that company's model, which went from $1 right now, Canadian, $5,000. Took 13 years. But this is the model they're trying to imitate. And they brought 160 companies into the network. Well, Railtown joins that network. Corey Brandolini, Marwan Haddad meet Dr. Tom Core, meet the rest of the team. And because Conductor, to keep the story simplistic, because Conductor is first to market, solves a real problem, and the market addresses is gigantic, these guys said, hey, you know what? Why don't you buy us out? Your product has broad applicability to our entire network. We can cross-sell. We'd like to hitch our wagon to Conductor. So you come bring a stupid stock like BioXL. I'm not happy about it, as you can tell. So Railtown is in a limbo because since February 11th, zip it. They can't say anything. They can't announce anything. They've made some announcements, but they don't talk about revenue. They don't talk about projections. They can't do it. They're in negotiations. They're in the valuation phase. They're in the let's duke it out and see what combined company, who's going to get the corner office, who's going to be able to park closest to the front door, who's going to get the title, who's going to get the all that stuff they got to negotiate. What percentage of the company, they got to do all that. And they've been doing it. And it's taking 6 months. Limbo. So you have a stock that might double. On the other hand, it might go down by half. And you want people to put money in there. Let me show you what's going to happen to Railtown, Mark. You're in this pink S-curve is the value creation model of almost every small company. You spend your time with you get your idea, you do your development work, it takes years, you live hand to mouth, and then all of a sudden you start getting revenues and your value leaps upward. But it got capped here because they met AI partners. February 11th, the stock's been 60 cents. Because they can't talk about anything. Can't talk about anything. But what happened? On this value creation, if we assume this arrow is Railtown, they added AIP. That adds a whole nother arrow, not drawn to size, of value creation. And then you're going to say, well, you know, why doesn't the market show it? The market doesn't show it because people that understand the business, rather than just getting some buzz off of Google, can't buy it. They can't buy the stock. They're not allowed to. They'll go to jail. They're in the middle of a merger. It's a quiet period. The stock's restricted. On top of that, there's 46 million shares, which at least when the trade was established, were short. Counterfeit. Nobody's selling this stock. So the stock's been suppressed, I would argue, by shorts, but it's also not been able to go up. There's no price discovery right now because the company can't talk about anything good. So it's 60 cents. Now, basically, I don't know what people paid all along for this 6 years, but this 6 months feels like forever. The stock's doubled in 6 months, but at least we haven't had to wait 6 years plus 6 months. And people buying today at 56 cents probably don't have to wait much longer, so they pay a little more, but they don't have to wait, I'm guessing, maybe another 4 weeks. So what happens, Mark? There's very little downside in this stock. There's no research report from H.C. Wainwright. The stock hasn't been destroyed from $1,600,000 a share. There's no, there are shorts in it, but there are no toxic short companies in here. It's a Canadian company, but it's been stalled out. It's in limbo. See that word? Limbo? It's in limbo. Now, what happens when finally they get the February 11th deal concluded, which is, I assume, what they're going to do? There's always a chance, I guess, it falls apart, but then you only get the Railtown valuation. But if you combine Railtown and AI Partners, you get a huge jump up in valuation, and then the company gets bought out. My opinion, according to me, this stock, once it IPOs, it's already public, but once it gets out of this suppression and limbo, I think it IPOs at $6, give or take. Could be $8, could be $5, could be $10. I don't know. I picked $6. Basically, I always pick 10 times this price. This will be the starting point for all the rest of this. This won't be a time to sell the stock. This won't be a time to have a win for retail and go into some shitty biotech stock that you happen to hear about. Mark, what pisses me off, why would you give anybody an alternative to 10x? I don't understand it. What's your motivation? What is your motivation? What's your motivation? You're not going to look smart. In my judgment, this move from limbo to the starting point is 10x. And you want people to go into BioXL. And you don't work for the shorts. Every time you come up with off-the-wall ideas. Maybe you're just a stock trader, which is fine. Go trade stocks. I'm not telling people to do this as a stock trade. I'm telling people on a fundamental story that I believe they have a shot of turning their money right out of the gate 10x. And then that's the starting point. And I'm sorry if I get defensive. I just don't want anybody listening to a stupid idea about a stock that's gone from 1,600,000, if I read my chart correctly, down to $1, and now it's $5. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to tattoo Railtown 1 at 10x's. Don't tattoo yourself with it. But don't also, please understand, I'm not saying that 10x is where you should get out. I'm sure people will. They'll go do the next deal that somebody throws up here and has an idea, and you'll get out. But I think you're going to really regret it, Julius, because I think this 10x, now I'm not saying it's going to go straight up, and I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but this 10x, which could take one day, it could take a month, or it could take longer. I don't know exactly the time frame. But once this happens, this is the starting point. And there's a lot of variables we've got to judge at that point. But I think you've got another 10x. You got another 10x. So I wouldn't tattoo yourself until maybe the stock goes to $60. And then you'll confuse the girls. They'll think it says $90 instead of $60. We're at 383,000 shares, 53.82 to 55.99. Julius had a buddy who wanted me to get a Trump stamp if GTII hit, a tramp stamp, sorry, if GTI hit 400. Well, I actually thought back then that, and I still think GTII and Finger were in the middle of a squeeze, but the system hired the three amigos to come pop the bubble. And I'm not blaming them, because if it hadn't been those guys, it might have been somebody else, or it might have been a different strategy. What I'm saying is we can't win against these guys. We cannot win. Steve, go easy on Mark. He's a regular guy. Mutterfutter is a shill. Yeah, I think Mark's a nice guy, but it's not the first time he's brought in terrible ideas. Maybe they worked, I don't know. But the reason they're terrible is because if your goal is to hop from idea to idea and idea to make a fast buck, it's just, you're going to lose your money. And all I hear is how people have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, lost their homes, lost their retirement, lost their health. If they could just get back to where if I could just get my money back. And I've just spent probably 9 months, maybe 10 months telling you about Railtown, but I think I spent July, August, I'd say 2.5 months at least, just only emphasizing Railtown. And I don't want you distracted from it. I don't want you buying some run-of-the-mill biotech firm that is no different. It's indistinguishable from another. What's the difference between that one and quantum, for example? Quantum had more buzzwords, but I just don't want you doing that anymore. Railtown is the way, in my judgment, to go green on your account. And if you are willing to hold, and I will admit, we don't have all that information yet. We have to see the data. We have to see revenue projections. We have to see addressable market size for sure. But they've given us a lot of it. I mean, I can show you from this, the smallest addressable market is this research report from a year ago, $3 billion. The next addressable market, $21 billion, is the software developer market that was mentioned on a YouTube video. There's another one that was 2 years ago at 11 billion, but that was that year. I think it was either 2023 or 2024. So that's history. Then there's the 300 million that's going to be spent on AI for across all industries. This $17 billion spend is on Railtown's website today as one of 2 addressable markets. The other one is 132 billion AI as a software as a service, you know, SaaS, but instead of the S, it's AI as a service. 132 billion. If you take 3% penetration for a company who is the first mover, state of the art, 3% penetration. Here's the annual recurring revenues, which could be projected. And I admit, we don't have the detailed numbers because everything's in limbo. But if you take those numbers and then multiply it by 25x at the top of this blue column, those are the per share, and divided by 170 million shares. Those are the per share targets you get for Railtown. Now, I know I'm not H.C. Wainwright, so we'll have to wait and see what H.C. Wainwright says. But at a 25x, not a 50x, not a 100x, not 150x, which are the going multiples right now in buyouts and valuations, at 25x, which is the average multiple paid in the past 6 years, 91 companies, not this year, 24 and before. The average multiple paid to acquire AI companies was 25x. Now, in the middle of this, it's 50, 100, and 150, but we go with 25x. The targeted price for Railtown, if the addressable market is $3 billion and they get 3% of the market, you use 170 million shares outstanding, which is 30 million more than they actually have. The target is $13. If you use the software developer tools market, which to my memory was for 2025, 3% of that, same multiples, you get a target of $92. If you use the spend, the anticipated spend, which is profitable, it's not a cost. It ends up being profitable for companies to spend on AI, $300 billion a year, and Railtown gets 3% of that. This target is beyond believable, so I wouldn't count on it. But it shows you the magnitude of the potential upside. 3% of that market at 25x. Now, if you want to discount that and say, well, they're not going to pay 25x, use 12.5x, $600 a share. These are gigantic numbers, so we're not ready for those kind of numbers yet. But then here, from the website, they use the software market, developer tools market for the end of the decade at 17 billion. Well, if you use 3% penetration, gives you $500 million a year, 25x divided by 170, $75 a share target. And you do not have to wait till the end of the decade to see that number. Because in a bull market, those numbers are discounted. And then the other number on the website is 132 billion. That's the software market, and I can't remember right now if it was SaaS, but it's the broader software market that they have on their website that they're going to address by the end of the decade. If you assume 3% of that and do the same numbers, the target is almost $600. Now, for me, I don't like the low one. I think it's too conservative. I think these higher numbers are so high, it's going to make you say, oh, that's impossible. So I'd ignore the high numbers. And then that leaves two numbers, 75 and 92. I chose the lowest one, $75 target. Then all the way over on the light blue, what I did, I discounted it by 90%. I took that forward calculation and I took 90% off of it. I took what I think was a reasonable target over the next 18 months, 3 years, 36 months, and I took 90% off of it. So my out of the gate number, my present day value for Railtown, and I admit that I'm having to use numbers that are from industry sources, from their website. I paid for a study that had the back tested 25x as an average. 10% of the ultimate target is $7.50 today. $7.50 today. The stock is trading for 55 cents, and Mark wants you to buy a $5 stock that might go to 10. That's why I get upset. All right, Julius, I trust you. I'm holding. Okay, I'm just going to go through the. I wish I hadn't come on today, frankly, but I did. So the 5 stocks I have here, Railtown's up 3 cents at 54.98, so 55 cents basically. G-Bucks is slightly down at 69.8. This biotech firm that's called BioXcel is up 31 cents at 506. Finger is down a penny at $1.42.5. NRGV is down 5 cents at 152. And let's just see. You know, the guy yesterday, for example, I got frustrated with him. He told you all about RDAR. That's 0.0015. There's 18 million shares for sale. Could be spoofing, of course. But that's up 0.0001, just to give you that update. I got frustrated with him too. Energy Vault is down 5 cents at 152 to 153. MTEN is up 50 cents. 39,000 shares to 1210 by 1249. I don't think you should be in that either. Any of these. Don't think you should be in any of these. But they're the stocks on everybody's mind. Finger is down a penny at 142.5. If we go back to Railtown, Railtown is 53.82 by 55.59. It's 388,000 shares. And I'm not going to stay live. I'm not going to stay live till the close because I've got phone calls to make. I wonder, will that go over 500,000 today? Probably. That's a pretty good indication that we've seen we're coming out of the sell-off in Railtown. And, you know, I don't know, at some point here, the stock isn't going to be available at 55 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, $1, $1.10, $1.20. And I think all of those prices would be inexpensive, depending on what the final news status is. But by the time it gets up in these higher prices, I would imagine there won't be as many shares counterfeited, because a lot of these guys will go broke and their credit line will be pulled from them. But also the stock loan desks might say, hey, wait a minute, we're not gonna let this position go. And let this kind of selling occur. But the other thing is, as you climb up past $1, past $2, past $3, past $4, past $5, past $7, past $10, institutions can start buying the stock. And institutions aren't going to care. They're not going to be distracted by BioXcel or what was the other one the gentleman said yesterday? Radar, RDAR. These are just distractions. And if you're listening to them, you're going to miss out on, in my judgment, the one opportunity to turn if you own enough of it. And that's, a lot, there's been people that have given you advice that you should spread it all out. I don't know if I still have that up here. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. This was from June 5th to August 1. And, you know, I should do this again just for one Thursday. But let me see what this one is. Yeah, August 1 to October 1. This is my prediction from August 1 to October 1. How am I doing so far? I'm probably doing shit. I said Railtown to go to $5. Well, I still think that. NRGV, I guess when I looked at the chart, and I just did a gut instinct. You can do it yourself. But I looked at the chart, I said 91 cents. I don't know. It's $1.52. So I'm wrong so far. MTEN, I, again, just looked at the chart, went with a gut instinct. I said it'll be $8, October 1. Well, it's $12, $12.20. So I'm not right on that so far. Nixie, I'm not too far off, but Nixie's around $1.70, I think. Let me look. Well, $1.68, it's down 9 cents. So I'm not correct there yet either. Finger, I said October 1, it could be $1.25. So that's you can do this yourself. Pick your alternative stocks. To me, if you spread it out, I did another analysis of that, but I guess it's not here. Is it here? Yeah, here's this analysis. If you spread on what date? I forget, August 7th, I guess, or June 4th. June 4th, and then I priced it August 7th. If you established you had 10 grand, and you put $1,000 in 10 stocks. Railtown, G-Bucks, Finger, Quantum, M10, Nixie, ZJYL, GDC, Next Trip, and Energy Vault. More than half would have been green in that time frame, June 4 to August 7. More than half would be in green. In fact, Railtown was up 64%. Quantum at that point, it's down now, but Quantum was up 80%. Mountain was up 13%. GDC at that time was up 27%. Next Trip was up 50%. And Energy Vault at that time, it looks like it's higher now, was up 45%. So you'd say, oh, so it makes sense to spread your money out. You can add Bio Excel to it, and Radar. Spread your money out. That makes better sense than what William's saying June 4th and every day since. I'm saying take all of this speculative, all of this high risk, all of these junky stocks, put it all in Railtown. Well, compare it. If you on June 4th, you'd put $1,000 and spread it out in all these names, and as one guy put it, in so many more, your 10 grand would have turned into 11,000, a little bit more than $11,000. Your profit in this, when I did this calculation, $1,200. If you concentrated your position where you have an edge, where you know something, and you put the entire 10,000 into Railtown at that moment in time, you'd be up 6,400. Let's call it 500. So your $10,000 would be worth $16,500. That's why I get so upset. People come in with amateur ideas as if you've got to go scurry over there. Why would you want to have a mediocre performance in your account and spread it out against all these stocks nobody knows anything about? Mark probably won't even remember that stock 6 months from now. He might remember it when it goes up and he can tell me I was wrong. But this is my message. Concentrate your positions in Railtown from those speculative, high-risk junk buckets. Put it all in Railtown now. Do it today. That's my message. And if I've been completely intemperate, I apologize, but if I apologize, that means I don't do it again, and I haven't been good at not doing it again. But the takeaway is, even if you hate me, even if you're angry at me, the takeaway is concentrate those buckets in Railtown and just block out all the rest of the stories. So with that, I'm gonna wish that Trump and Putin are able to achieve peace in the Ukraine. We should all pray for the women and children in Ukraine. And maybe they can have great breakthroughs so that their peace in the Middle East could be maybe some sort of rescue for the to fight back against the genocide, the slaughter, and the horror that's going on with 2 million people in Palestine, in Gaza. And maybe they'll come up with a nuclear reduction or something. But so let's try to hope that there's some peace coming out of Alaska. I wish each of you peace. And, I guess I've given you my opinion. You should be buying Railtown today and just ignore the other stories. Someday your Railtown account will be so big, then you can play with Mark's ideas and Mr. Tang Wu's ideas, and other people's ideas. But it'll be just a tiny little bit of your account, and it won't matter then. Right now, the feedback I get is most people are playing with the last bit of their account after they've been destroyed by MMTLP, by MMAT, by GTII, by CRTD, by COSM, by Finger, by these other stocks that recently came into the cavalcade of criminal crap. Yeah. Railtown will bring you, if you own enough, Railtown, I believe, it's not a promise, it's a prediction. Railtown will bring your account to even. And if you have the courage not to be distracted by a bunch of amateur or worst ideas, hot trades. Look, some people are good traders. If you want to sit in front of the computer the rest of your life as a trader, go do it. But if you want to have a fundamental story that can bring your account back to even and then green in such a way it may pay for the pain you've experienced, my recommendation, and I can't, of course, give direct financial advice, I think Railtown's the only thing you should be in. And I do agree with Steve that Mark's a good guy. And maybe it seems unfair to jump all over a stock that's gone from 1,600,000 to almost zero, and now it's up with a reverse split, and I'm sure some story AI. And there's no credulity. No one is looking at it with a jaundiced eye. I don't get it. Please don't dilute your account. Please don't move your account to these other things. If you want to have an exceptional experience, focus your account on Railtown. And we didn't add a lot of shares today, so I don't think the next update will be gigantic, but this is an amazing number that you guys have. You've got 11,340,000, over 8% of the outstanding shares. This is fantastic. Stay strong. Stay with this. Don't dilute your power in these other stocks. All right, I'm going to wish peace in the world, and I wish peace to each and every one of you.